Battle of Waterloo, June 18th, 1815. A defining day in European history, the Battle of Waterloo. This brutal clash brought to an end the reign of one of history's most legendary figures, Napoleon Bonaparte. Today we'll explore the forces, the strategy, and the decisive moments that shaped this epic confrontation. Set in present-day Belgium, Waterloo would become the stage for a final showdown between Napoleon's French army and the Allied forces led by Duke of Wellington and the Prussian general Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher. To understand Waterloo, we must first rewind a bit. Napoleon, having dominated Europe for over a decade, had been exiled to Elba in 1814 after a series of defeats. But in March 1815, he made a dramatic return, rallying France for one last campaign, the 100 Days. His plan was bold: strike quickly against the 7th Coalition before their armies could fully unite. The French army, battle-hardened and motivated, moved north towards Belgium, hoping to split and defeat the Allied forces in detail. Facing him were two major armies: the Anglo-Allied forces under Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington, composed of British, Dutch, Belgian and German troops, and the Prussian army under Blücher, fresh from a tough campaign but eager to engage. The stage was set for a battle that would decide Europe's future. Let's take a look at the forces involved. Napoleon commanded roughly 73,000 men, infantry, cavalry and artillery. Wellington had about 68,000 strategically positioned on the ridges near Waterloo, using the terrain to his advantage. The battlefield itself was a patchwork of farms, woods and rolling hills. Key locations included the farmhouse of Hougoumont on the right flank, the walled farm of La Haye-Sainte in the centre, and Papelotte and Placinois on the left. Wellington's defensive line was strong but stretched, relying on holding key positions until reinforcements arrived. The French would need to break these points decisively to win. At dawn, the French opened with a heavy artillery bombardment aimed at disrupting Wellington's line. Following this, French infantry advanced towards Hougoumont. This seemingly minor engagement would prove critical, as the fierce fighting here would tie down French troops throughout the day. Wellington's forces held firm, with Hougoumont becoming a fortress under siege. Meanwhile, in the centre, French troops launched multiple attacks on La Haye-Sainte. The farm changed hands several times in fierce, close-quarters combat. Despite repeated assaults, Wellington's men demonstrated remarkable resilience. Their defensive formations, including the iconic infantry squares, held against cavalry charges and blunted French attacks repeatedly. As midday passed, Napoleon committed his Imperial Guard, his elite veterans, in a decisive push to break the Allied centre. These troops had never been defeated, and their assault was meant to crush Wellington's army. At the same time, the French cavalry, led by Marshal Ney, launched a large-scale charge to exploit the weakness in the English line. Unfortunately for the French, these charges were poorly coordinated and suffered heavy losses against disciplined infantry formations. Meanwhile, the Prussian army, battered but determined, was advancing from the east. Blücher's timely arrival at the village of Placinois threatened Napoleon's flank and stretched French forces thin. The battle's momentum was shifting. Napoleon's gamble was growing riskier and riskier by the minute. In the late afternoon, the Imperial Guard made their final, desperate attack on Wellington's centre. The fighting was brutal, with the Guard attacking English lines with fierce determination. But Wellington's troops held steady. The sight of Prussian forces closing in at Placinois further demoralised the French, and the Guard's attack faltered, marking the first major defeat of these elite troops. At this moment, the French army began to collapse. The combined pressure of the Prussians from the east and Wellington's counterattacks forced a general French retreat. Napoleon's dream of European domination ended here on the muddy fields of Waterloo. The Battle of Waterloo sealed Napoleon's fate. He abdicated days later and was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena, where he would spend the rest of his life. For Europe, Waterloo marked the end of the Napoleonic Wars and the beginning of a new era of relative peace under the Congress of Vienna. The battle is remembered not only for its scale and its intensity, but also for its lessons in leadership, strategy, and the importance of alliances. Thanks for joining this exploration of Waterloo, a day when history was made on the battlefield.